Self-Love is the New Sexy, the podcast devoted to helping you overcome life's most painful and stubborn challenges so you can feel great, have more energy, and live stress-free every day. To reach your full potential, simply work with the powerful spiritual principles that are readily accessible to everyone. It's easier than you think, and on today's show, W. Mark Watts is going to show you how starting with self-love is the key to joyously and harmoniously making that happen.
Hey everybody, it's W. Mark Watts. I want to say hello, welcome, and thank you to everyone for hanging out with me for another episode of Self-Love is the New Sexy. And in today's episode, I am going to talk about one thing that is super important when you're getting started, when you're off, when you want to really move in a different direction or a new direction, or you really want to push forward in a big way in your life. First, though, I want to just send a quick shout out to, I talked to Janice, I talked to Tamika, I talked to Craig, I talked to Lewis, I talked to George over the weekend, and then a couple other people. And it was really good speaking with you all. Thanks for hitting me up on social. And, I look forward to talking with you all in the future and keeping up with, the direction that you're going in your life. So all the best to you all. And so in closing, I also want to invite you all, everyone who listens to the show, to hit me up on social. Let me know what you think about the show. Wherever you see the show, rate it if you can. But then more importantly, hit me up on social. Send me an email to friends@wmarkwatts.com. Let me know what's going on, how you're doing, what you're changing, what you're pushing forward to, whatever your biggest challenges are. If you just want to say hello, say hello. This is a two-way street. Like I like communicating with you guys. So don't be afraid. Hit me up wherever you see me. So let's get into it now. Today, what is most important when you are looking to really make a shift? You really want to make a change. You really want to transform, because we all are looking to do that. On the previous episode, I talked about how we're all, no matter who you are, myself included, we're all in some shape of either wanting to we just started, or we want to change and make a shift. We want to really, improve in some area of our life. So what's the most important thing? Simply this. It's get started. Take the first step. I can't tell you how many times years ago, how many times I thought about starting my own business. And I think the very first time I did that was probably around 1997. Maybe I dabbled a little bit before then, but I can't remember for sure. Nothing serious. But in 1997 is when I started my first real business on my own. And I started delivering USA Today papers early in the morning as a contractor. So, if you're a contractor, you're working for yourself, because you have no boss. You have, no structured benefit plan or anything. And it's, that's somewhat of a part-time business, unless you got other people working the routes with you and you have a huge route. But starting out, just me, not knowing anything about that business, I started the business. And it was pretty crazy. It was really interesting because, again, it was eye-opening for me because I didn't even really know much about it. Can't even remember how I came upon it. I think I must have come upon it based on an ad or something I saw in the local area in the Charlotte, North Carolina market. And so I did a little investigating and realized that, there was very little barriers to it. You just had to talk with the local person. They had to sign you up, and all you needed was a way to carry the papers, and to really get around and to understand the routes, the locations. So they gave you the locations, you learned the locations. And then after that, it was just getting up bright and early in the morning, going downtown to pick up your papers, because they had pretty much a set amount based on how the accounts normally sold or performed over time. Picked them up, loaded them up, and then you hit the route. You got going. And now one thing I really liked about it is that it was really early morning work. It was all cash-based business because you delivered the papers, and then every week you collected from the owners or the machines, depending on what you had at that location. And then you got done pretty early, so you still had the rest of the day to either work another job, work a part-time job, or whatever you were able to do. I was a little bit younger then, so I had more energy, and it was easier to do at the time. But still, it was eye-opening for me. Now, it didn't last too long. I can't remember how long I did it. I want to say maybe a year, but because it was difficult for me to grow, and I didn't really understand how to grow it and how to take on additional routes and how to maybe hire people to work it, because there's only so much that you can do, because early the papers have to be out by a certain time in the morning, because people, when they go pick up their coffee, they go get their paper and then they move on with their day. So the papers have to be there early. So there's only so much that one person can do. And again, I didn't really understand the concept of growing into a more full-fledged business. I'm not even sure that was my original plan. All I knew was I wanted to venture out, move into a space where I was working for myself, because I had just moved to the area. Job market wasn't really leaning in my direction, so I had to find something to do. And I thought, well, I've been thinking about working for myself for so long, so let me jump out here and try something. And so I tell you that story to say this, and I'll let you go today. I started, right? That is the biggest thing. Once I got into it heavy, I realized that, hey, this is not something I want to do long term, but I was enjoying the lessons. I was connecting with the owners. I was learning how to get faster at the route. So I was looking at ways to improve it so I could get done faster. I was trying to figure out ways to maybe place papers in different positions, different places, so I could sell more papers, et cetera, et cetera. So it really got my wheels spinning, and I started thinking about, how do I improve it? So here's how much money I made in the first couple of months every month. How can I improve that? So it got me thinking like a business owner. And then I started thinking, okay, there's pretty much going to be a low limit to how much money I can make to this. What's the next step for me? So then I started thinking bigger. Okay, in my next business, what would I want to do differently? So, and then that got me really on the path to really thinking about entrepreneurship as a real life endeavor. And started taking it seriously, and started to realize that, man, I could do this. This is a reality. This is a possibility if I'm willing to work, because I had to work. I had to hustle. It sounds simple and it sounds easy, but you've got number one, you've got to be up real early. You've got to deal with traffic. You've got to learn how to talk with owners. You've got to make sure you're managing the money. You got to count the money. You got to keep up with the money. And, and you got to stay physically fit too, because it's a physical job. So you have to be available every day, or else you don't make money. And if you don't deliver the papers, then the owners get pissed. Before long, you're going to lose your route. I saw that happen to so many other owners or contractors, I should say, just because they weren't willing to do what it takes to maintain the agreement. So what is it that you're hesitant about starting? Just start. It doesn't matter. It's not going to be great. You're not going to be great right out the box. And if you are great, that's good for you. That wasn't the case for me. When you start something new, there's so much to learn. The brain has to wrap its head around what you're actually doing. And things are moving so fast. So don't worry about being great. Don't worry about being good at it. Just focus on getting started, because when you get started, it lights up the mind. It's something new, so it makes you start thinking. And 3, it can lead to, and it will lead to, whatever's next for you. So all of those things are why it's so important to just get started. You want that energy, that vibe. You want that wave. You want that challenge of learning something new, because here is the next thing for you. Oftentimes we stop ourselves. And I'm going to go back to me. I stopped myself for a long time just because I was hesitant. I was overanalyzing things. And quite honestly, I was afraid. What happens if I fail? What happens if I'm bad at it? What happens if I take a loss? Well, I've done all those things. I've been all of those things multiple times in my life. And you know what? It's not that big a deal. You get over it, you recover, and then you move on. And that's what life is about. It's about stepping out there. It's about getting started, and it's about moving forward. So the challenge for you today is stop hesitating, stop procrastinating, stop analyzing, and get started. Whatever that thing is, take the first step. Figure out what the first step is. Do the research, make the phone call. Go to the gym for the first time. Try a vegan meal for the first time. Speak to someone new for the first time. Start looking for that new job for the first time. You know, whatever it is. Write your first poem or start your first short story. Start your first painting. Whatever that first thing is for you, start writing your first song. Start playing your first instrument. It doesn't matter. Start recording your first podcast or start studying how to record your first podcast and then actually record one. Who cares what you sound like in the beginning? Who cares about the sound quality in the beginning? Just get started. So I'm going to say it one more time. Get started. I invite you to get started because once you get started, the magic can start to unfold. And that's what we're all after. All right, that's all I have for you today. I'm going to get out of here. Look forward to speaking with you all again soon. Remember, wherever you see me at, hit me up, connect with me, let me know what's going on. I absolutely love communicating with you all. All right, be good. Talk to you again soon. Bye now.
You've been listening to Self-Love is the New Sexy with W. Mark Watts. If you enjoyed today's show, be sure to tell a friend. Also, make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to our show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you listen to podcasts.